Hi, this is IK Tutors, and we are here to do another medical dosage question. So let's jump in. We see here that the question states, a postoperative patient receives heparin 3,000 units subcutaneous Q, H, I'm sorry, 8 hours to prevent deep vein thrombosis. Okay. We also see that it says how many milliliters will the nurse administer? So that's the question we have to answer, and they give us a label with some information on it. So how do we solve this question? This is a unit dosage question, and what we need to do is we need to pick out three vital pieces of information from the question, and then use those three pieces of information to solve this question. And we can do it in like 3 steps. So let's begin. First of all, I want to note that if you look at the label, right, it says somewhere in the middle in with a red background is in white letters, it says 5,000 units per ml. That is our conversion factor. Sometimes you'll find a conversion factor here. Sometimes it'll be written out in the question. Sometimes it'll be on something else like um, a needle or something along those lines. You're gonna find it in various places. So don't think it's only gonna be in the label. But that's one of the vital pieces of information we need to get. All right. So now we have that piece. Let's go ahead to the whiteboard and solve this. Okay. So we know that we said the first step, and you see it written out here, is we have to get those three pieces of information. So step one is we got to find out what's given, the conversion factor, and the units needed. We saw that the conversion factor on the label we saw it was 5,000 units per 1 milliliter or per ml. Now, in algebra, the one is invisible, so I don't have to write 1 ml. If it says per ml, that's the same as one ml, right? Because again, in algebra, the number one is invisible. It's not always written. Okay. Now let's get the rest of the other two pieces of information we need from the question, right? What's given? Let's read the question and see what's given. What's given is what's prescribed, right? So it says post-operative patient receives heparin at 3,000 units. So 3,000 units is what's given. So we're going to write that down over here. 3,000 units. And now we got to see what units are needed, right? We're not necessarily going to get a number, but we're going to get a unit, definitely. So it says in the last part of the question, it says how many milliliters. Milliliters is the unit, so we're going to write that down. How many milliliters are needed? And now we're all set. We have completed step one. We got the three pieces of information we need. Now let's go to step two. Here it says step two, we have to put the conversion factor in fractional form. So what does it mean by that? Well, this is an equivalence kind of that they give you on the bottle. It says 5,000 units per milliliter. We have to put it in a fractional form. And we have two choices, but we have to pick out which option we need. So the two choices are we can either say 5,000 on the top, 5,000 units on the top, and the other thing on the bottom. Or we can write it the other way. We can put 1 milliliter on the top and the 5,000 units on the bottom. So which one is the right one for us? We don't have to worry about that because the question tells us. And here's the rule. Whatever units they're asking for goes on top of the fraction, right? Here, what are they asking for? We saw units needed. Whatever units are needed goes on the top. We see units needed are milliliters, so milliliters goes on the top. So we know we're going to use this conversion factor right now. We're going to use this fraction from that conversion factor. So we have completed step two. Now, last step is we're going to just solve. Now we have everything we need to solve. So what do we do? It says here that we're going to multiply what's given by the fractional form, and that'll give us the answer. So let's go ahead and do that. What's given is 3,000 units. We're going to multiply that by the fractional form we got in step two, which is 1 milliliter over the other thing. And we pick milliliters because that's what the units were needed. And now we're going to go ahead and do the math operation. At this point, it's all mechanical, guys. Okay. So the first, we have a few rules to worry about, or not worry about, but to take into account. One is we have a fraction in this equation. So whenever we have a fraction involved in any equation, we have to make sure all the numbers are in fractional form. So we're going to put a 1 underneath the 3,000 units. That takes care of that. The other one is now we have to multiply. Oh, now all we have to do is just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and whatever cancels, whatever matches in the top and bottom will cancel out. And when I say whatever, I'm talking about units or factors of numbers. So let's go ahead and do this. So looking at the top and bottom, we said we have a unit on top that cancels out with a unit on the bottom. We always do the units first. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna multiply across. I'm not gonna do the factors this time, because we can do it at this point. We can do it at the end. I want to show you the simple example first, right? And later on, we'll get into factoring out doing the factors of the numbers. But here's pretty straightforward. We simply multiply across the top. So we have 3,000 times 1 milliliter is going to give us 3,000 milliliters. And 1 times 5,000 is just going to give us 5,000. Now we go ahead and we do this on our calculator and we get 0.6. So 3,000 divided by 5,000 will give us 0.6, the units of milliliters. And this is the answer you will see on the multiple choice option of your question. So I hope that helps. Oh, we gotta keep track here, right? So we did it in 3 steps, guys. Very easy. If you haven't already, this is a card. Make sure you write this card down and use it to guide you through doing all these types of problems. Right? All right. So I hope this helps, guys. If it does, please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have an amazing day.